Now, without a further ado, I would like to introduce to you the honorable speakers that will make the opening remark. And I will start with introducing to you Kristian Schmidt, which is the Director for Land Transport in DG Move in the European Commission. And Kristian, I will give you the floor.
Giorgio, thank you very much, and greetings to all of you from the European Commission. I see a lot of names that I have not met before, and that's great because we need to welcome new friends to this family. I'm Kristian Schmidt, Director at the European Commission, and I want to start by convincing you that the Commission believes in the future of rail. We have just put our new proposal for the 7-year budget on the table, and it proposes a doubling of the Connected Europe facility. So the funding dedicated specifically to transport infrastructure in Europe. But we've also put on the table, and I'm sure my colleague Andrea Gentili will talk about that, a proposal for doubling research on the table. And so you can see, I hope, that the Commission certainly believes in both the future of rail and the future of research. Today is not just therefore the simply the second call of proposal that is being launched, even if it is important, 148 million euros being put on the table here today. But it also is something I think we should see as a collective commitment to the vision for the future of rail. A future that is certainly, from our perspective, is bright, but also a future where we modernize, we digitalize, and we make sure that rail becomes more efficient. This is the ambition that we have at the Commission, and I'm sure it's why you are here in this call. Let me also maybe briefly set out some of the objectives that we have and we aim to achieve through this call. As I mentioned, first of all, advancing digitalization and automation in the rail sector. These are not just buzzwords. They are key to unlocking our vision of a efficient, safe, and customer-centric rail system. You take, for example, the deployment of 5G-based telecommunications technology. All of that is linked to the enabling of automated train operations and real-time traffic management operations. All things that are essential for the greater efficiency. So we need to do this together. You know better than I do, all these functionalities are linked and they will not be deployed or developed in isolation. They must be rolled out from the lab to the track in a joined up fashion. Second objective, of course, is sustainability. This is another cornerstone of our vision and also an objective of this call. You all know rail is already one of the greenest modes of transport, but we believe that we can and should do more. Through this call, projects will be funded that will reduce energy consumption, and you know how important it is today to ensure energy independence for Europe as a continent, to optimize operations and integrate climate financing mechanisms to accelerate the transition to low carbon future. And there, for instance, the exploratory research topic on innovation in climate finance offers a unique opportunity to identify strategies that can drive sustainable investments in the rail sector. A third objective, and I mentioned already how we need to co-create in this sector, rail being a network industry. A third objective is interoperability. Here, clearly a truly integrated European railway network requires the seamless connections across borders. This is Europe's rail, Giorgio, right? So it is cross-border by definition. Everything we do must work together. And that's where the system pillar comes into play, providing the unified operational concepts and functional architectures that is needed to eliminate the barriers to interoperability. And they are many still in rail. The barriers to interoperability is not just sort of a slogan. There are many. And we need to work hard together to overcome that. So proposals under this call must align closely with the system pillars work to ensure that innovation and standardization goes hand in hand. Fourthly, of course, I talk about systems and technologies, but let's not forget the human dimension of this transformation. And so the topic of extending the rail network of PhDs is an expression of our commitment to really sort of foster also, let me call it, united brains of rail innovators. Here, we see a need to invest in academic collaboration and capacity building, and so to make sure that we are also addressing that human dimension. Those are the objectives. I realize, of course, that the way the call is set up, you will be thinking about your interest and your priorities. So let me finish by maybe sort of some dedicated messages to different stakeholder groups. First, to the private members. Here, of course, I understand that the requirement to provide in-kind contribution amounting to almost 1.3 times your funding requests may seem daunting. We're looking for leverage. But here, I really want you to take this as an example of we are putting money on the table and more will be coming in the future. But it's important that this is a partnership. And by co-investing in these projects, you are, of course, sharing the risks, but you are certainly also positioning yourself to reap the rewards of a more competitive and innovative rail sector. And then directly also to our academic and research partners, you are essential. Thank you for being here. I want to emphasize the importance of exploratory research. We need disruption. We need disruption in the rail sector. And I say this knowing how difficult disruption is in a sector like rail. But the studies on Rail 5.0 and climate finance is not just about incremental improvements. They are about reimagining what rail can be in the 21st century. And so I challenge you, your expertise and your creativity to make this vision a reality. The third stakeholder group I want to address directly are the SMEs, small and medium-sized enterprises. Let me be clear, you are not just participants in the process. We see you as drivers of change. We are really committed to ensure that this call will give you a level playing field with opportunities for you, for startups, to contribute your unique perspectives and solutions. Because rail is a challenging sector, and agility and innovation is not necessarily the easiest here. And so the SMEs must be part of that change. Those are some of the messages, of course, for all of you, results. So we need to address challenges, but also be accountable for what we do together. There are very ambitious key performance indicators outlined in this call, Giorgio, and I'm sure you will be very attentive to that as you go through the proposals. I just mentioned the one of them. It's the 25% reduction in capital expenditure for control, command, and signaling systems, or a 10% decrease in energy consumptions. I mean, these are very meaningful key performance indicators because we're not researching in a vacuum. We have a reality, an economic reality, and we need to bring down the cost of rail and the efficiency of energy consumption. So these are KPIs I hope you will keep in mind as you design your proposals. And last but not least, communication and dissemination of our results. Again, this is not a closed bubble. The success that we measure, achieve together, should be communicated widely to the broader community. And we have lots of opportunities to do that. Innotrans in Berlin next year, Connecting Europe Days. Europe's Rail will always be there and proudly present the results that we are creating together. And so I do look forward to coming across many of you in these events in the future. With that, Giorgio, I congratulate the staff of Europe's Rail and you as the Executive Director for launching this significant call. And I look forward to a very intense information day and hopefully excellent proposals coming from the stakeholders. Back to you.
Great, Kristian. Thanks a lot for those inspiring words. I think all our viewers are absolutely subscribing to this. Sorry, colleagues. Okay, so what we are looking forward at right now, it's also to have some nice and inspiring word from Andrea Gentili, it's the Deputy Head of Unit for Clean Transport Transition in DG Research, European Commission as well. Andrea, the floor is yours to tell us how to do it and what to look also in the future.
Thank you very much, Giorgio, and good morning, colleagues. We are happy today. We are very happy today. I represent RTD, Directorate-General for Research and Innovation. As you know, there are two services in the Commission, which are the most relevant services representing the public side of the Europe's Rail joint undertaking. Kristian has already addressed to you from the MOVE, the Directorate-General for Mobility, and the other services are Research and Innovation, which is basically the core and of this initiative today. Now, why in RTD we are very happy today? For three reasons. But the first reason is because this call is in a way perfectly in line with the EU objectives of advancing rail research and innovation as a key part of the Green Deal, but not only the Green Deal, but also the Europe's broader ambition to strengthen its global competitiveness. In line with the sustainable goals, we aim with the call to ensure that the digital and clean transition of transport, positioning exactly rail as the backbone of clean, efficient, safe mobility for all passengers and freight. So, of course, EU Rails plays a central role, in a way, in achieving climate neutrality, bringing together industry, it has been already mentioned by Kristian, academia, research partners, in order to drive digitalization, automation, system integration across our Europe's rail networks. And those are the areas that are covered exactly by this call, which is one of the biggest since EU Rails, JU, started a few years ago. That is the first reason, policy alignment. The second reason is because we are happy to see that the majority of those topics, the topics proposed, are identified explicitly as flagships. So what we do expect exactly is that actions resulting from those topics are contributing to build those large-scale demonstrators that are, in a way, the first step to achieve products that will reach the market in the short term. Kristian mentioned recently the Commission adopted a proposal for the future framework program for research and innovation. Let's call it FP10. Together with the European Competitiveness Fund. And the Commission was ambitious to put a budget for those two programs, which is basically doubling the budget of the previous framework program, 175 billion euros for FP10, and also a 400 billion euros program for the competitiveness. And the Commission would like to make sure that those two programs could be connected to each other. And why? Just because we want that the research results could reach the market in the seamless and the fastest and the biggest way. So this is the second reason. So the presence of large-scale demonstrations. And there is also a third reason why in RTD we are very happy about this call. It's because of the presence of exploratory research. The role of universities, research centers, SMEs, and why not the startups, scale-ups, in the clean transition of transport, but in particular rail, is crucial. It should not be underestimated. So we really wish to make sure that all types of stakeholders, including the smaller actors, could have access to research and innovation funding, that the project could be simpler, faster, and we wish partnerships for the future, which could be, let's say, more integrated together with the initiatives done at the level of the member states, and focused on strategic sectors for the competitiveness, security and resilience. Indeed, research excellence and talent retention are vital for Europe's industrial and green transitions. And here I would like to mention an initiative of EU Rails, which is a very nice initiative through these PhD programs and studies on rail industry 5.0, which is basically fostering the new talent and keeping Europe at the forefront of sustainable innovation. So those are the three reasons why we are very happy. But now, in conclusion, you know that life can be always better. So even if we are happy, we can be even happier. How? I mean, and here you are the ones that can make us even happier. And how? It's simple. In preparing very good proposals that will be finally retained for funding, successful proposals which will be turned into successful projects, which will generate positive contributions to our environment, to our society, and to our economy. I really thank you in advance for that, and good luck to all of you.
Thank you very much, Andrea, for those words as well, encouraging. And I am sure that I can already reply to you that I am happy as well, because we are seeing already more than 200 participants to our Info Day on a Friday. And I'm also happy to report that our B2Match platform, where each of you can exchange, it's already reaching about 450 as well potential participants to our call, which is an encouraging sign. And I'm sure that after both your inspiring word, we will further increase this number. So now what I would like also to explain on my side is a little bit the context under which Europe's rail is operating, and its vision also on the Europe's rail side. So if we go to the next slide, we can see that Europe's rail wants to deliver a fully European rail integrated network for its citizens and cargo. Kristian already mentioned, we're not doing just the research for research, we're doing also research to have an impact. And this impact, it's our mantra. We have also measured it in key performance indicator, speaking of capacity, flexibility, interoperability, multimodality, sustainability, reliability, competitiveness, and inclusiveness, because we want through research and innovation really make a rail shining and the everyday mobility. And now if we are looking into what are the challenges that we need to look into, if we go into the next slide, we can see that Europe's rail wants really to work to meet the customer requirement. We're doing research and innovation to ensure that at the end we meet the customer expectations. And those are changing and are adapting, and so we have to do as well. Kristian already mentioned, very much important, today rail is a costly system. So we need to innovate to find efficient solutions that deliver the quality and the services that both citizens and business wants to have. For this also, we're looking into an existing network. So this existing network can be improved, and especially its capacity as well. We needed to address as well the workforce shortage, and we have an opportunity today because with the digitalization, with the artificial intelligence, with all the tools that we have at our disposal, we can make the transition easier. Climate change adaptation, it's at the heart of our work. The rail system, you all know, and this is probably why you're working as well in the rail sector, it's actually the most sustainable transport mode. And if we really want to address the climate issues that we are facing at the moment, we need for sure to have more rail and a better rail system. And when we're talking about a better rail system, it's about increasing as well its competitiveness. Let's not forget that today in Europe, the rail sector, it's one of the net exporter. It's an important sector in terms of jobs in Europe, and it's a leader worldwide in terms of innovation and technology. This can only be kept if each of us, if each of you are working to make sure that this leadership and this competitiveness of the rail sector is maintained. And let's not forget that rail cannot bring people nor goods from A to B. Therefore, the interactions with the other mode is equally important and a lot of time forgotten. And this is also the reason why you see that Europe's rail is focusing as well of the standardization of interfaces and ensuring that those are open. And when we're speaking about interfacing, we cannot also forget that rail has to address a lot of legacy system and their obsolescence. And so we need to be smart to do this. We need to think of the migration consequence of all our research and innovation activities and the cost associated to it. But we can do this because we're working together, we're cooperating with all the rail sector stakeholders, and especially we're doing it in an integrated program. So that's an input and an output of research and innovation activities can match between different subsystems, and we're creating really a new rail system. And if we go into the next slide, this is what Europe's rail is about. It's a partnership. It's a partnership between the European Union and the rail sector. Here you can find who are the members of Europe's rail. You can see that in total we have 30 members, and they are all working to achieve the same goal, which is to implement the Europe's rail program and have a successful output and an impact. They are not working in isolation. Each of them are working with many other partners and many new partners, I hope, that will also reply to this call for proposal to ensure that this program is bring forward and delivered. Obviously, as Kristian mentioned, those companies have made a strong commitment. They are investing more than the non-members, but it's also, I think, an opportunity for them and an opportunity from the non-member. They don't have to bear the cost of the partnership, but they can contribute to it and also obtaining some benefit in terms of EU contribution. If we go into the next one, we can see that this is our research and innovation program. I mentioned before, it's integrated. Today you will have a glimpse about the innovation part of our program. Our call today is touching upon all the flagship areas, and we are implementing flagship projects. We're implementing also exploratory call projects. But it's important because today it's a significant chunk of our activities that is launched. In total, the program, you can see it's a very ambitious program in terms of size and as well as in terms of areas of coverage. And we're talking about 1.2 billion euros, even more, of research and innovation activities, but not only. We're looking into how to transform research and innovation into success. And therefore, we needed to think at a system level, standardizing as much as possible the interfaces and working together with the European Commission, with the European Union Agency for Railway, to ensure that there are no barriers for the implementation of those innovations, being a legal barrier or also market barrier. And for this as well, we're working with our private member. And then lastly, in addition of the system approach, we're also looking into consideration of how to best deploy all over Europe complex system with complex interaction between different stakeholders who maybe don't always find the direct benefit. It could be an indirect, and so type of solutions of how to address deployment concern are also part of our program. As you can see, the research that you will be applying to today, it's really pushed in Europe's rail to make sure, if successful, the outcome of the research that is implementable in the European rail system. If we go into the next slide, here you can see a glimpse of what also the system pillar is doing. Today is focusing on some subsystem, the control command system, the traffic management system, and the digital automatic coupling subsystem. But on those areas, we're really trying to simplify the rail system and standardizing it as much as possible, so that in the future we will have also a more optimized and easy implementable system with new solutions. And digitalization is clearly an enabler for us for achieving that. If we go into the next slide, you can see this is the part related to the deployment group. The deployment group provides recommendations, provides scenarios and analysis that will be helpful to the authorities, to the ones that at the end will have to implement this system to ensure that the new systems are actually benefiting each countries and each networks. And this deployment group, it's an open group, so also all of you that are interested can apply. It's completely, well, it's available, the membership for application on our website. And today we're focusing on a couple of major transformation programs. One is the digital automatic coupler, and the other is the future mobile rail communication system. So the moving from the 2G system to the 5G system in terms of communication of train to ground. But we're open and we will be for sure looking into other transformational programs as soon as the output also of our research and innovation activities has reached a level for the discussion in detail of its implementation. So with this, I have provided to you, I hope, an overview of the Europe's rail activities. But I think what is interesting you today, what interests you today, it's really about the implementation of our innovation pillar, the innovation part, and in particular the call for proposal 2502. And that today my colleague Nicola Furio, head of the innovation pillar, will start to present.
Thank you very much, Giorgio. Good morning, everybody. It's a pleasure for me to be here today for my first info day session for this important call as the head of innovation pillar of Europe's rail. So my mission for the next 30 minutes is to give you an overview about this call 2025-02. And next, my colleagues will deep dive into the call topics. So first, just would like to guide you in the key documents that I would like to invite you to have a look at before submitting your proposal to Europe's rail. So on the slide, you can see the pyramid of documents, the key documents of Europe's rail. So the first one is the EU rail regulations, so the Single Basic Act, which set up, let's say, the GU. But I would like to draw your attention on the EU rail master plan. So the EU rail master plan is a high-level document giving the visions of the GU with the high-level objective, the expecting impacts, but also the EU rail priorities. So it gives guidance on how we will invest 1.2 billion euros for RNA activities. And this is the first key document that I invite you to look at. The second key document, this is what we are calling the EU-Rail Multi-Annual Work Program. So this one is a much more complete document, which explains how EU-Rail will implement the program. So being for research innovation or being for system activities for the system pillar. In this document, when you will have a look at it, you will find much more information on how we will implement the priorities coming from the master plan. You will also have some details on the flagship areas. So Giorgio mentioned the flagship areas earlier. So we have 7 flagship areas and transversal topics. And also you will find more information on the exploratory activities of the GU. This document also explains the structure of the GU and how, let's say, we integrate all the activities to deliver the program of Europe's Rail. So it's also a key document that invites you to look at because it explains the logic and the strategy of the GU to implement the RNA activities. How do we implement the contract, the program, sorry. So for the system pillar, we have put in place a framework contract, so it's a procurement process. And on an annual basis, we are defining some activities for the system pillar. So this is managed via this framework contract. But why we are here today, this is for the innovation pillar activities. So the contract is implemented via calls for proposals. We had already one big call in 2022. This call was covering up to 50% of research innovation activities value of the 6 flagship area. So this was the first big call that we'll publish in 2022. And we have some ongoing projects, what we call the flagship projects, which are coming from this call. But today we are the second step. So this is the second call, the call 2502, which cover around 30% of the research activities of the 6 flagship area. And this is the call of today. This is what we'll present to you today. So it's a continuation in terms of activities from the first call. So that's why I want to highlight that this is the second big wave of call focusing on the flagship area transversal topics. And in addition, we have some exploratory research topics that we'll also present to you later on. And the third big wave of call will be in 2027. So this will be launched to complete the activities of the flagship areas and the transversal topics. And this call, as I said, will publish 2027 to finalize all the RNA program. For the development group activities, so as Giorgio explained, is to bridge research innovation with future migration deployment activities. So this we have put in place some groups in the GU supporting by the sector, and this is how it is managed so far in the GU. So on this slide, just want to highlight the ongoing or the running flagship projects. So we have 6 big flagship projects, as I said before. Why I would like to focus on them? Because you will see in the call text of the destination 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, we are referring a lot to those projects as linked projects for the new projects. So the first project, the flagship project 1, is the motional project, is addressing traffic management and capacity management systems and digital enablers. The second flagship project, this is the R2.2 project, which is focusing on automation and digitalization of the rail system focusing on the signaling subsystem. The third flagship project is the IAM4Rail project, which is focusing on asset management, so both for infrastructure and rolling stock. The flagship project number 4 is the Rail for Us project, which is focusing on sustainability and efficiency, energy efficiency. And the 5th flagship project is the Transformer project. This one is focusing on freight, addressing both the seamless freight, but also the digital freight train operation system. So on this flagship project, this is where we have the DAC, the digital automatic coupling, which is addressed. And the last but not least, the flagship project 6, the future project, is addressing innovative rail service to revitalize regional rail service lines. So those are the 6 ongoing flagship projects. You can find on the EuropeSrail website more information on the project, so meaning the objective, the structure, the coordinator, and also you can have access to the public outputs of those projects. Also, I invite you to have a look at those information when you will prepare your proposal to submit for the call 2502. The last key document that I would like also to invite you to have a careful look at, this is the annual work program of the GU. So this is the work program 2526. This is the one which is explaining the call 2502. So this document is focusing on the annual activities of the GU, and you will find this document in the annex of this document, the call description. So for each topic, you have the description in terms of scope, in terms of outcomes, and in terms of what to be delivered in the projects. So my colleague will explain to you later when they will, as I said, give you more information on the call topics. But I really invite you to have a look at this document and also to have a look at the master plan, the military work program, because it explains the logic, and your proposal that you will submit to the GU should also reflect this logic later on. So just one slide to summarize the 3 key documents. You can have access to them, they are online. Annex regarding the call 2502 in terms of structure. So we have 10 topics in the call. We have destination 1 to 6. So to make it clear, destination is exactly the same as flagship area. So we have one topic for the flagship area 1 on network management planning and control multi-management. We have one topic for destination 2 of flagship area 2. This is the one on digitalization automation activities. One for destination 3 of flagship area 3, so which is the asset management one for destination 4, so the sustainable and green rail system, the destination 5, one topic on freight, so addressing seamless freight and DAC, and destination 6, one topic for the regional rail services. Destination 8 is not a flagship area, but this is what we call the exploratory research and other activities, and you have 4 topics in destination 8, and so we'll come back later to give you more information on the 4 topics. So the call 2502 is open to all eligible entities within Horizon Europe. In the next slides, I would like to highlight some conditions. So this is also part of the call text, so you will find it online, but of course, as EuropeSrail is financed by the Horizon Europe Work Programme, we are following all the general conditions of the Horizon Europe Work Programme. So all the conditions reflected in the Part A of general annexes, or B or C, I mean all the annexes of Horizon Europe Work Programme are applying to the EuropeSrail calls. But we have some specific conditions. So the specific conditions are also explained in each call topic. The first one is that, as you will see, we have an expected EU contribution per project. So meaning this is to give you an idea about, let's say, the EU contribution that we intend to allow for each topic. Nevertheless, this does not preclude yourself to submit proposal with different amounts. We have also the indicative budget. This is also to highlight, and it was mentioned before by Kristian, this is the leverage effect that we expect from the members of the GU. So meaning that for any funding request that will be submitted to the GU in the proposal, the members have to demonstrate that they will also commit for what we call additional activities. And this we have a ratio of 1,263 times the funding request. Also, this is well known by the private members of the GU. I just want to highlight that this is reflecting the call text because it's important to demonstrate also the leverage effect, and this has to be shown in the proposal that will be submitted to the GU. So this is applying only for the private members of the GU. We have the duration. So it's indicative project duration. Of course, the proposal can propose other duration, but this should be explained, should be linked also to the activities you want to do to make sure that the scope is well addressed. So just keep in mind there are some indicative project duration in the call text. In terms of type of actions, we have 3 types of actions in this call. You have innovation actions, research innovation actions, and coordination and support actions. You will find also for each topic what we call a technology readiness level. So you have usually a minimum and let's say a maximum TRL level highlighted in each call topic. You can propose higher TRL level. Nevertheless, I would like to highlight that you should not come with solutions already in place in your proposal. You have to demonstrate that you will do some research innovation activities. And also, you should not propose activities with a lower TRL level than the one indicated in the call text. Admissibility conditions. So this is regarding the maximum number of pages that your proposal, let's say, should have for when applying to the different topics. So for innovation actions, the maximum is 120 pages, and when the topic is research innovation actions or coordination support actions, the maximum is 70 pages. So make sure that you will, let's say, comply with this, the maximum number of pages, because the system will not allow you to submit more pages than highlighted in the admissibility conditions in each topic. Special skills. So also for the topic, you will see that it is reflected the expertise that is needed for the call. I think also this was mentioned before by Kristian and Andrea, the need to involve all the rail ecosystem, so being the infrastructure managers, undertaking suppliers, research institute, academia, but also the expertise from SMEs and startup. So this also has to be assessed by the applicants who submit their proposal to make sure that you will design a consortium that brings all the expertise needed for the call topics. Next, we have the contribution to the monitoring and implementation standardization of the EURL program. So this is a specific condition applying mainly for the calls linked to destination 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and 6. Just to reflect the integrated approach of Europe's rail. So those projects will be what we call flagship projects, so meaning projects with large-scale demonstrations. So there is a need in the proposal to demonstrate how this project will contribute to the implementation of EU policy and legislation, also will contribute to the development of European standard, how they will interact with the system pillar activities. So you will see in each call topic you have some information on our expectation. And also just want to highlight that for the flagship project, the GE will put in place a review process, what we call the maturity checkpoint, so to monitor the progress of the project and to make sure that the project is performing well and addressing the TRL targets. So this also has to be reflected in the proposal to be submitted. And if you want to have more information on those processes, I invite you to have a look at the EURL governance and process handbook, which is online. I mean, you have the link here on the slide. It's also in the call text, because this explains all the processes that the GU will put in place to monitor and supervise the project, and so will give you additional information on the communication dissemination activities that we expect from the projects. The link project, so this is also to explain how the new project should be linked with the ongoing projects. Again, there is a continuation of projects, so it's important to keep in mind that those projects are contributing to all the objectives of Europe's rail, and it's important in your proposal to reflect also the link or interaction with other projects. Funding of only one project topic. So this is what the GU expect, at least for the flagship projects, to fund only one proposal. So this is another specific conditions. The retroactive starting date of the grant. So there is a possibility, if you wish, to request for what we call an early date for your project. So meaning from the date of the submission of the proposal. But of course, this is at your own risk. So meaning that if your proposal is not selected, you will not get any funding for the activities that you might already have started. The lump sum grant, so all the call topics are following the lump sum grant. I will not go into detail now because later on my colleague Sandro will explain you in detail what is a lump sum grant. The lower funding rate is another specific condition. So this is applying for mainly the destination 1 to 6. So the funding rate of the action is 60% of the eligible cost. So this also to keep in mind when you're preparing your proposal. For the research innovation actions and condition support actions, the funding rate is 100%, except of course for the private members of the GU if they apply to these calls. The award criteria, additional details. So this we are following the criteria in the Europe 4 program, plus we have some additional criteria as Europe's Rail. Again, this will be explained later on during the day. What are the additional criteria that Europe's Rail will use to assess the proposals submitted? And additional dissemination obligations. So there was a clear statement earlier by Kristian that it's important to reinforce the communication dissemination activities for those big projects to demonstrate and communicate on what we are doing. So also for this, there are specific conditions in the call topics, especially for the flagship projects. And this is linked to the governance handbook, governance and process handbook, again, that I invite you to have a look at, because you will see for the flagship projects, the GU has defined some KPIs metrics for dissemination communications. And of course, when you will design your proposal, you should make sure that what you are proposing for commission dissemination activities is aligned with the KPIs that we have identified as Europe's Rail. So now just one slide to, let's say, recap all the topics, the type of actions, the expected TRL level, the expected EU contributions per project, and the number of projects expected to be funded. So the call was published on the 8th of October on Wednesday. The submission, so you can start to submit your proposal. This will be open end of October. And the deadline for submission of your proposal is the 11th of February 2026. So regarding the publication of the call, so as I said, the call is online. You have access to it via the Europe's Rail website, but you have access to it via the EU Funding and Tenders portal. So this is just a screenshot of what you will find on the portal for each call topic. So just want to highlight that we had, let's say, technical issues with the funding tender portal, so meaning that you cannot start to submit your proposal now. But as you will see, you have this logo on the portal, meaning that it's forthcoming. So by end of October, this will change with a logo meaning opening, so meaning that you can start the official submission. So this is the coordinator of the consortium who can start the official, let's say, submission via the funding and tender portal. And when clicking on this button, when it's opening, next the coordinator can start added the beneficiaries, entities, and start to submit also the proposal, all the data needed for the submission of the proposal. So just my message to you is that do not be afraid by this. It's normal. You have access to the call topics. You can have a look at the call topics. You have access to the templates also. So you can also be familiar yourself with the templates, but you cannot start submitting your proposal. This will be activated by end of October, and next you'll be able to submit your proposal. But just want to also underline that nothing will change the call. The call will remain the same as it is today, and as you have access today via the EU funding tender portal. It's just a technical issue, but be reassured. By end of October, you will be able to submit your proposal via the EU funding and tenders portal. Regarding the structure of the call, so this is what you can find in the EU Rail Work program, or what you can find also on the EU funding and tender portal. So you will see first you have, let's say, a description of destination. So this reflects the objective of each destination, of each flagship area. Keep in mind that destination is the same as flagship area. Also identifying the targets, the KPIs for each flagship area, and meaning what the research innovation activities should achieve in terms of KPIs at the end of the projects. Next, you have the expected outcomes. So this describes the expected demonstrations, the expected work that the GU expect from the projects. And this also aligns with the multi-annual program. So with, as I said at the beginning, with the the complete program, what we intend to achieve. So the project will contribute to one part of the program. So it's always important to keep this in mind. And the last part, this is the scope, in which we'll find much more information on the expected capabilities or enablers. So the technical enablers that should be developed or should be addressed in the project. Also, you will find some additional information on other requirements, that the need to measure and monitor the KPIs in the project, because this is important for the GU to get this information from the project, because as the GU, we are next developing the KPIs for the GU, and we are using KPIs coming from the projects. And also you will see some other requirements to contribute to standard activities, or also to interact with the system pillar activities. So you have all the details in the call for each topic, but this is the structure that we are using for each topic in the call 2502. Last slide on my side. You might have some questions, which is normal. So if you would like to get further clarification on the call topics, being technical clarification, legal clarification, financial clarification, feel free to reach out to the GU. So send all your questions to the EURL GU call functional mailbox. So you have this on the slide. In terms of deadline, so you can already start to submit your questions to the GU, but there is a limit. So the deadline is the 28th of January 2026. So this is the deadline to submit your question to the GU. In terms of publication of answers by the GU, so we'll publish the answers on a regular basis. The answers will be published both on the Europe-Israel website and the Youth Funding Tenders portal. So also keep in mind that those Q&A will be published regularly. So have a look at the website of Europe-Israel or at the funding tender portals if you want to see the questions that have been submitted, and if you want also to see the answers from Europe-Israel, from the GU. And I think it is my last slide, yes.
Thank you very much, Nicolas. Perfectly on time, actually even earlier than foreseen. And I also see that it appears that we have been clear in what we have been saying, because we don't have many questions in the chat. But I encourage, obviously, each of you to continue to ask us questions, both in the chat or, as Nicolas indicated, through the info call mailbox. I also see in the chat that a few of you are also putting forward your expertise and willingness to participate in project, and this is good. As my colleague reminded, we will also have later on a matchmaking session where you will be able to participate and discuss directly with those interested partners. And also we're making available our B2Match platform to connect with all potential future partners to form a consortium. What I would like to do right now, it's maybe a short coffee break of 15 minutes. And after this, we will have the possibility to explain to you the call topic text. Also, please don't hesitate to already think of questions if you want to. And after the introduction of the call topic text, we will also explain to you both the legal conditions and the financial conditions, so that you will have all or most of the material at your disposal for starting to participate in the Europe-Israel program. So I would break it here for a coffee break of 15 minutes, and we see each other at 10:15. Dear colleagues, I hope you had a nice coffee break, and with 10:15, we're ready to restart and going directly into the content of our call. I will give the floor to Senior Program Manager and Program Manager that will continue one after the other to present the different topics of our call. And so let's start with Leah, Senior Program Manager in Europe-Israel on Destination 1.
Thank you very much, Giorgio, and good morning, everyone. Diving straight into this content session with Destination 1. That is a topic that is covering both flagship area 1 on network management, planning and control, as well as mobility management in a multimodal environment. But it also covers the part of MAWP addressing digital enablers, and I will enter into the details in a few minutes. If I can go to the next slide. We are going to start with some basic facts about this Destination 1. So the expected EU contribution has been set to 22.4 million euros, and we expect an indicative project duration of 30 months. In terms of maturity of the solutions to be developed, we are expecting that it ranges from TRL 6 to TRL 8, depending on the technical enablers, and this we will see in a few seconds. This leads to the fact that this is an official innovation action, a first of a series. Last bit of information that you can see at the bottom of your screen. It looks a bit dense like this, but it's very straightforward. Destination 1 is expected to be linked to, on the left side, ongoing projects from phase 1 of our program, and especially FP1 Motional, that is addressing Destination 1 in the first wave of the Europe Soil program. And on the right, you can see the list of topics from this call for proposal 2025. And we expect Destination 1 to be working with these topics and these future projects on several technical enablers and several demonstrators. If we go to the next slide, entering a bit more into the expected outcome and scope. As it was explained by Nicola, the call is structured with a section on expected outcome and a section on scope. For time purposes today, we are obviously not going to enter into the details of every lines from a call for proposal and from Destination 1, but the details are available online. But here is a bit of a snapshot as to what we expect from Destination 1 and what we expect as the final deliveries. If we start with this workstream 1 that is covering flagship area 1, on capacity management, traffic management, and mobility management. Workstream 1.1 addresses capacity management to a level expected of TRL 7. We expect developments on functional system for strategic, tactical, and short-term planning. Remember, we are here on the capacity management side, the planning side, taking into consideration ERTMS and ATO evolution as functionalities and their aspect on the expected impact on the planning. We are also expecting the work to take into consideration the feedback loop from operations, including the link with the traffic management system and again, the connected driver advisory system or the ATO, and see how capacity and the planning aspect can be improved and enhanced and optimized in order to increase the capacity on the network. The second sub-work stream addresses traffic management at the level of TRL 6 and 7 activities. So we are already high in maturity. It can be explained in two different sub-areas. One, the TMS at regional area, where we expect the topic to address decision support and interaction between the different actors involved in the daily traffic management. That also includes the integration with incident management, as well as handling the possessions linked to the maintenance activities that are obviously necessary to make the network run as smoothly as possible. So this should include cooperative planning with yards, with stations, and as well as considering obviously cross-border operations and asset conditions for running stock and infrastructure in real time. The second sub-area addresses the TMS at global area with decision support in automation and overall real-time traffic plan, including, again, feedback loops from operation to the planning, as we mentioned earlier, for the capacity management side, and showcasing the following capabilities or technical enablers, depending on how you want to see them. That includes real-time connections to networks, improved modeling for cross-border, integration of energy management, real-time crew and rolling stock dispatching, not to be forgotten, cooperative planning, dispatching, incident management, customer information, obviously, disruption management, and the increased automation and decision support, and the conflict detection and resolution. So these are the different technical enablers we expect to be brought up to a higher maturity, and with demonstrations in this call. The third sub area covers the integrated rail traffic with door-to-door mobility, again at TRL 7 and 8. With improved long-term demand-driven predictions, considering short-term demand forecasts and disruption management, using different sources of data, public event seat availabilities in order to manage the crowds. We want to see the use of digital twins for the visualizations and modeling of movements in train stations, and also address the cross-border travel within Europe and the different connections to more rural areas, to make it more inclusive for mobility, and focus on PRM guidance based on real-time data. So these are the expected outcomes and scope for workstream 1 covering FA1. And if we go to the next slide, we see the digital enablers side, also known as transversal topics. This includes further work on the rail federated data spaces on the basis of public deliveries available from Wave 1. That also includes further work on the common domain ontology, building up on the work done in Shift2Rail in Wave 1, but also linking up, extremely important, to the ERA ontology in order to ensure coherence at sector level and also for future uptake onto the market. The third aspect is the digital twin support that is expected to be transferred to different destinations. So this topic is expected to cover this. And finally, the cybersecurity, on the basis of work that has been done in the system pillar in the last couple of years, and formal deliveries are available on the website and referred to in the call text to demonstrate a shared cybersecurity services for the rail system. So this is it for Destination 1 in a nutshell. The details are obviously available in the call text if you want to see a bit more and understand a bit more the topic and the details of it. I'm keeping the floor and going into Destination 2. Destination 2 is addressing flagship area 2 on digital and automated up to autonomous train operations. And we will start again with the basic call data. We go to the next slide. Expected EU contribution has been set to 33.1 million euros. Like for Destination 1, we have an indicative project duration of 30 months. And maturity level that has been set to, between 5 and 7, leading again to the fact that this topic is an innovation action. Like for Destination 1, at the bottom you see the linked actions from Wave 1. In this case, for Destination 2, there is a very strong relevance to the ongoing project FP2 R2DATO and the public deliverables from that project that are expected to be used as a reference. And on the right side, the link to the future destinations also included in this call for proposal. Diving into the expected outcome and scope, you will see in the next couple of slides the different technical enablers that are making up Destination 2 and Flagship Area 2, starting with the automating functions such as the wake up and train preparation capability that has been set at TRL 6 for this call. We want that, and this is a clear objective in IMAWP, that trains are continuously traceable for traffic control. And this is again the link with destination 1 for the traffic management part. In this little sub-area, we have further work on absolute safe train positioning, the train integrity, the train safe length determination, as well as obviously the ATO technology. We also have connectivity solutions. The call includes a reference to provisions for further testing for FRMCS beyond the first edition of the FRMCS specification, but it also includes further work on the multi-connectivity platform and working on the future evolution of the telecommunication for rail as a whole, also including satellite communications and vehicle-to-vehicle communication and vehicle-to trackside communication. Safe environment perception, obviously, the further we automate, the more we also need for the train to be able to read what is around it. So that includes signal reading and obstacle detection, supporting cooperative awareness, and supported by virtual certification on the basis of the work that has been done so far in the program. Remote driving and command, we want to see further work on remote driving, especially for depots or for lines with low traffic, as well as for fallback operations and for shunting, and an extremely important area of development. Autonomous route setting on low traffic and regional networks in terminals, in depots, and urban environment. We want to see a demonstration at TRL 5. So slowly but surely increasing in maturity for this development. Digital register, this is the central data source for the different functions, especially on board, but not only, for the positioning, for ATO, for TMS, for any type of functions. We have more and more data and we need to be able to handle them. We expect a demonstration at TRL 6 for this technical enabler. Going on to the next and final slide. We have further work on hybrid train detection and moving block system when we think of improving the capacity on the existing network. These two technical enablers are obviously key in achieving this. Virtual coupling. We expect a demonstration at TRL 5. We've had some work done in shift to rail. Phase 1 also saw the continuation up to TRL 3 and 4. We want to go higher in phase 2 for this technical enabler. Self-driving wagons, same principle. This is also supporting cooperative awareness. We want to see a demonstration at TRL 5. Brake and new generation of brake systems for adjustable configurable emergency brake control, the holding of brake functions, and integrated adhesion management, extremely important for ATO. We want to see a demonstration at TRL 6. TRL 6 is also expected for the testing and validation and virtual certification if we want to decrease overall cost in the rail sector. This is an important area to continue development and make sure also that these are harmonized at European level. We have modular platform based on next generation ATC architectures at TRL 6. We have the Evolve onboard communication networks at TRL 7. We have a stable ETCS on board, so trying to see whether rationalization and consolidation of the already mature and generic ETCS onboard related interfaces can be further achieved. So this is a bit of a new activity in Destination 2, and that's why it's set at TRL 3 in those for these initial steps. Finally, deployment and migration plans, not to be forgotten if we want to make sure those technical enablers are ever reaching the market, as well as obviously training and human factors, especially with increased automation. We need to take this into consideration to ensure a smooth deployment. Thank you for your attention. With this note, I hand over to my colleague Sébastien Denis for Destination 3. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Leah. So this is now my turn to present Destination 3 and Destination 4. So Destination 3, Intelligent and Integrated Asset Management. So basically, the call is building up the results of FP3 IM4Rail and is focusing on the maintenance of all rail assets, meaning rolling stock, infrastructure, station, to deliver solution enabling the integration of predictive, prescriptive maintenance, as well as autonomous inspection and maintenance intervention. For which benefit? Cost-effective asset management, increased ramps and capacity of the overall railway system, but also, and we'll see afterwards, sustainable production of resilient assets. So if we move to the next slide. So the specific condition of the call, the allocated budget in terms of EU contribution is of 32.8 million euros. We have an indicative project duration of 30 months, and the expected TRL will go from TRL 6 to TRL 8, depending the technical enablers. So consequently, this is an innovation action. And in terms of linked action and expecting interaction, we have a similar mapping than for FA1, and FA2. So most of the current project from FP1 to FP6 will be used as basics for the work. And the next call of Wave 2 will be obviously some action that will be linked to the developments foreseen into the work of Destination 3. If we move to the next slide. So the call is divided basically into 7 high-level demonstrators that I will detail afterwards. But it is important to highlight that each of these high-level demonstrators should be populated with specific use cases that will detail concrete solutions. Okay, so these use cases should consider as much as possible the reproducibility at EU scale, as well as their possible aggregation and capacity to link the demonstrators. Okay. So this use case should address various assets, such as physical infrastructure. We talk about here civil structures, signaling, trackside, station, etc. But also rolling stock with passenger service train, freight, and light and urban vehicles. Okay. If I go into the list of the demonstrators, so the first one is associated to the asset management and TMS interaction. So the idea of this demonstrator is really the integration between the YAM system and the TMS in order to enable the share of data and optimizing decisions. So this use case should be able to reach TRL 7. The second one is associated to all the work for asset management and the rolling stock. Okay, so we have a main objective for this demonstrator to somehow present solution for the monitoring of rolling stock, so including the onboard and wayside technology to capture data, in order to prescribe intervention as well as new technologies and solutions to conduct inspection of tasks autonomously. TRL 7 foreseen as well. The third demo is associated to long-term asset management, so with the development of lifecycle cost models for the infrastructure, such as bridge, for example, and it will be a TRL set maturity level foreseen. The number 4 on the next slide, on the asset management infrastructure, so basically the twin of the demonstrator, but this of the demonstrator number 2, but focusing here on the infra assets. So on board and wayside data collection with development of central platform managing big data to enable prescriptive intervention, minimizing dangerous situation and service disruption during operation are foreseen for these demos, and a TRL set is expected. The fifth one is on the assets management and digital twins. So all the use cases on design, maintenance, upgrade and renewal of intervention driven by digital twins should be integrated into these demos. It should enforce the use of BIM and AI tools to execute simulation and prediction. Okay, so this demonstrator should also include visualization, prediction, and simulation. The maturity expected is TRL 7. The sixth demonstrators is associated to design and manufacturing. So it should showcase eco-friendly production of resilient assets that will be supported by new fabrication techniques, such as additive manufacturing. Okay, the focus should be on infrastructure assets, it's important, and not on a running stock part. And the expected TRL is 6.7. Finally, the last demonstrator is for all robotics and interventions use cases. So here we have a focus on high-tech automatic execution solution for both construction and intervention to be supported by robotics, wearables, and in order to build, I would say, a safe and more automated railway environment. The expected TRL is 6 and 7. So this is it for destination 3. I will now continue with destination 4, so a sustainable and green rail system. So this call has for objective to provide new innovative products and services based on leading edge technologies to minimize the overall energy consumption and the environmental impact of the railway system. Okay, but it has also other objectives, such as making this transportation mode healthier, more attractive, and to provide resiliency against climate change. The target solution, and you will see in the call details, this is rolling stock, infrastructure, station, and all their related subsystems. So, for example, traction, bogies, brakes, energy storage, etc., etc. If we go on the next slide. So here this condition, in terms of budget, 26.6 million euros are expected in terms of EU contribution. We have also an indicative project duration of 30 months. The TRL expected is from TRL 6 to 9, same here, depending on the technical enablers, and consequently, this is an innovation action. In terms of linked action and expected interaction, I don't go into the details. It is exactly the same approach that for destination 3. Next slide. So here, the code is building up the results of FP4 Rail for Earth, and the expected outcomes and scope are divided somehow in 6 areas that I will go through. The first one is all the work related to alternative energy solution for rolling stock. So the maturity expected from this code is TRL 7 and 8, sorry, and it will cover different aspects. So the first one, all the work related to high performance battery electric multiple units train, and the second one on hydrogen hybrid trains that could be tested on either heavy duty inspection vehicle and local for freight passenger. Okay, there's also a third area, this first sub-project on adaptive train energy consumption to various service situations. The second area will be on the holistic approach to energy in rail infrastructure. That will cover indeed the design, the production, and the use of intelligent management. And expected TRL is 6 to 8. It will cover mainly 2 areas. The first one on the smart grid for the repower, and its integration to the and the integration of energy storage solution. And the second area will be more focusing on hydrogen with the development of universal H2 interface and the development of digital algorithms to improve the refueling efficiency. The third area on the sustainability and resilience of the rail system in a holistic approach to asset management, delivering more value, it's expecting at TRL-6-7 is covering several independent areas, such as the development of solutions and models for the reduction of noise and vibration, both covering railway infrastructure and rolling stock, but also the development of tools and indicators to promote eco-design, as well as the developments of tools to facilitate the adaptation to climate change. On the next slide. So the fourth area is quite a broad scope with the improvement of electromechanical components as well as subsystems for the rolling stock, with quite a high level maturity expected from TRL-7 to 9. The first sub area, it is all the technical solution to migrate toward an airless train, so to get rid of all the pipes, etc. And we are focusing on two specific subsystems, so the electromechanical brake and the pantograph. Then optimized motors and gearbox. So here to be covering all the aspects and technical solution covering high performance bogie, suspension and new materials. We have a sub area on eco-friendly HVAC and a last point on aerodynamics certification. The fifth area will be on the healthier and safer rail system, TRL-7-9 expected. So here all the solution for the improvement of the air quality in trains, stations, and tunnels. Finally, the sub area 6 is covering all the work for the attractiveness, TRL-7-8 foreseen, and it will cover the modularity of rolling stock interiors, okay, in order to provide new design, but also new architectures. So it will also include the driver's cabin, and it should obviously take into account PRM requirements and enhance the accessibility, everything with innovative solutions. That's it for FA4, and I will now hand over to my colleague Javier for Destination 5. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sebastian. I hope you can hear me well. So I will start with Destination 5. As presented already at the beginning, Destination 5 has in mind, of course, advancing in digitalizing operations to have sustainable and competitive digital freight services, and this is the main scope of the call under the flagship area 5. So if we go to the next slide, please. We'll see again, as per the presentations that we've been doing, the expected EU contribution for this specific action is 20.4 million euros with an indicative duration for the period of 30 months. And then again, depending on the technical enablers that the proposals will be addressing, we have technological readiness levels coming from 5 up to 8 in these specific activities. The innovation action as per the others, and then you can see also below the linked actions these proposals will have to take into consideration. We have highlighted here in a bit bigger, as you can see, the current activities of FP5 transformer, which is the project being going on at the moment as per the first call of the JU. And FP5 Activate, that is another flagship project on the flagship area 5, supporting also the testing activities of transformer project. On the right-hand side, as per my colleagues also presented, the intention is to summarize and link the actions that will have to be linked to some of the activities again that the proposals will be addressing. And here we have listed the main projects that you will have to be also considered when having these links. And then going specifically to the content, in the next slide, you can see that FA5, Destination 5 will have two main work streams. The first one is dealing with full digital freight train operations. Again, we have subdivided in here two main aspects of the work stream. The first one being And in continuation with the activities of FP5 transformer, the intention is to deliver scale demonstrators, large-scale demonstrators, including those functionalities based on the digital automatic coupler type 4 and 5 up to TRL 8. Considering, of course, here that the current activities of the joint undertaking are expected to be delivering already specifications for these specific digital automatic couplers. In that sense, this demonstrator should also consider train detection composition and management system related to that. Of course, activities or tasks dealing with the automatic brake test being performed, and importantly, also to consider the train integrity and the train length determination of the units. So up to a TRL level of 7. These demonstrators, or the demonstrators that we expect to see in the proposals being received for assessment, would have to deliver on those technical solutions up to the TRL 6, 7 for these specific activities that we mentioned before: automatic parking brake, digital wagon inspections, as well as how the power and distributed power solutions are incorporated into this testing, together with electro-pneumatic brake activities and activities dealing also with the way on how loading and unloading operations will be done using these innovative solutions up to 7, 8 TRL. In here, we are also including in this first work stream, and again as a follow-up of the activities at the moment going on within FP5 and Activate, demonstrations in marshalling yards. So we are here demonstrating already some of the things that this second call would be following up to, dealing with automated shunting the locos, the wagons, and the movements included in these transformations. Of course, these activities would also have to consider how the digitalization of the yards will optimize the operations in these marshalling yards. So considering again how the equipment or the data referring to the status of the equipment and the wagon conditions are affecting possible operations within the yard. And as we will develop a bit further in the second work stream, activities dealing with the fact of meeting customer needs and boosting operations in freight. In the second slide, as I was mentioning, and addressing the work stream 2, that is dealing with the seamless freight. We consider here activities up to TRL 5, 8. Again, depending on the technical enablers, these tasks will be addressing. But in principle, and as a summary for you, these demonstration activities will have to demonstrate how the operations between cross borders and, of course, including some of the European corridors in place are taking or are being used for these demonstrations, and of course using the technologies already, and some of them developed already for European railway checkpoints at the borders and other operational activities on these stop points to reduce the manual processes into digitalized and automated actions. Second and last but not least, the seamless, in order to boost these freight operations, we have to focus on customer options and including the interests of the customers in place. So we are, with these demonstrators, with this seamless planning, management and booking of the multimodal rail-based transport integrated solutions into the ones already developed, a way to integrate those other modes into the last mile operations, and of course prove that with this planning and with these adaptations to the change in demand, we can avoid disruptions and affect as less as possible the customer needs, considering those requirements in place. This is in a nutshell what FA5 Destination 5 is willing to or is expecting from the proposals to be received. And on this note, I will pass to my colleague Judith Sando that will be presenting Destination 6. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Javier. Good morning to everyone. My name is Judith Chandor and I'm Program Manager in the joint undertaking. And I'm going to present you now the Destination 6 Regional Rail Services, Innovative Rail Services to Revitalize Capillary Lines. So if we go to the next slide, you can see the summary as for the other destinations. So for this specific topic, the expected EU contribution is 10 million euros with the indicative duration of 30 months. So with the technology enablers that are covered in this destination and this call, should aim to have TRL 5 and 7. So as for the other destinations, this is also a type of action of innovation action. With regards to the linked actions, so this proposal should also have link to the ongoing EU rail projects for the flagship project, and also for flagship area 7, which is about innovative guided transport solutions, spots for rail, and also should be linked to the topics that are presented today in the info call. If we go to the next slide. So with regards to this destination, this is covering different elements of the railway system. So it's focusing on the control command signaling part, on assets, as well as passenger information systems. So the main objective of the activities that shall be developed within Destination 6 is in order to make regional rail more attractive, customer-centric, and reduce significantly the CapEx and OpEx of these solutions and these lines. So based on that, I would like to present you the first cluster, which is about the control command signaling and operation part. So as for the added destination project, this topic is also a follow-up of FP6 Future. So many of the activities that have been launched in this ongoing in this project should be followed up and further evolved in this destination. So one of the elements for the operation is to revise and amend, if necessary, the technical and operational requirements that are coming in the analysis. What are the needs for regional rail? This is also based on already existing information and already existing work that has been done in Shift to Rail and in the previous flagship project, but also see whether any new elements needs to be added and integrated. These requirements shall be also shared with the other destinations, because as you can see in the next bullet point, so in this destination, there are quite a lot of interaction with the previous destinations and the previous flagship areas, which were presented by my colleague Lea. So mainly on Destination 1 and Destination 2. So, and then those generic applications that are developed within the Destination 1 and Destination 2 should be then further developed and analyzed, and a specific application should be provided within the scope of this destination. So what are the areas of these technical enablers which are listed as common work with Destination 1 and Destination 2? You can see that. So one of them is the traffic management system. So here we are expecting that The operation should also consider not only high but also low density situations, and also specificities that are relevant for regional lines. For instance, the use of depots or reaching the vehicles to a depot and so on. And then this technical enabler should reach TRL 6. With regards to the automatic train operation over ETCS, it should go up to a GOA 3-4. So it means that also in destination 6, we can expect also proposals for GOA 2, but and also beyond. So this we are expecting an outcome of TRL 6 by the end of the action. The other point is on hybrid train detection and moving block for regional services, as well as cost-efficient communication that is focusing on mobile networks and communication infrastructure from third parties. So with regards to hybrid train detection and moving block, it should go for TRL 6, as you can see. And for communications, it's TRL 6-7. After that, we are also aiming to have a technical enabler on absolute safe train positioning, considering multi-sensor technology, digital maps, and onboard databases. This is also for regional lines. It's very essential where there are lots of areas where there is a little connection and information on the train position, that using this new innovative solution could help better positioning of the train. So this should be TRL 6 as an outcome of this action. Cost-efficient communication for gigabit radio supporting the application of FRMCS. As already Lea mentioned, for destination 1, there is also work on communication and demonstration activities that are linked to FRMCS. So here we need to ensure that these activities are aligned and synergies are well developed. So this is aiming for TRL 6 and 7. Then another technical enabler is on safe train integrity and train length detection with TRL 7 and TRL 6, as well as for the last point on digital platform for control command and signaling validation for TSI certification and authorization specifically for regional line. We are aiming for TRL 5. For the next point, you see that in destination 6, we are not only considering interoperable lines, but also lines which are outside the scope of the TSI, which are in the, you will see in the work plan that it's called G2 lines. So the next demonstration should be specifically for this kind of lines, so lines which are not connected with the main line. And here, the technical enabler is a single integrated operations control center covering interlockings, radio block, and traffic management. For the next slide, you will see the other cluster, which is related to the assets. Of course, here the objective remains the same, so significant cost reduction, trying to avoid as much as possible the infrastructure assets and having more wireless and self-sufficient infrastructure components used for regional lines. Here you see that one of the technical enabler is on smart wayside object controllers with the objective to reach TRL 5 and 6. And this is indeed, as I mentioned, to avoid rail wayside elements. And sorry, I was a bit lost. And then also another element is the infrastructure components and wayside elements focused on regional rail cost drivers, which are energy self-sufficient and or wireless enabled. And these kind of communication systems need to reach a TRL 6 by the end of the call, at the end of the project. Alternative fueling and charging stations, these are also covered in Destination 4, but here in Destination 6, we are focusing on a interoperable version that could be also used for rail and road vehicles, with the objective of reaching TRL 3 by the end of the project. The next cluster is on customer services. And here there are two main technical enablers. The one is on demand responsive transport for passenger information system based on demand responsive transport. Here we are expecting a TRL 7, as well as a passenger congestion rate monitoring, which is also important for optimization of the system and having a low-cost passenger information system for TRL 6. As you can see, cluster on the rolling stock is not part of this call. However, we are taking this also into the next step, and this will be addressed in a future program of EU Rail. And now I would like to give back the floor to Sébastien Denis to present Destination 8.
Thank you very much, Judith. So indeed, I will start presenting the four core topics of Destination 8. I will present the three first one, but I will let my colleague Leah presenting the last one on FAMCS. So the first one, the call on studies on Rail 5.0. So the objective for this call is quite clear. This is to study the application in the rail sector of Industry 5.0 principle to be seen as transition to a sustainable, people-centric and resilient European industry. In terms of specific condition, on the next slide. So we have an expected EU contribution of 0.6 million euros. The indicative project duration is also 30 months. We have a low TRL for this study, basically TRL 1, 2, and consequently the type of action is a research and innovative action. There is no, in the core text, any linked action, no expected interaction with other projects. In terms of expected outcome and scope, so the expected outcome of this RNI is a study that will indeed identify the key challenges, drivers, and expected measurable outcomes and benefit related to the application of the new concepts introduced by the 5.0 industry principles to the rail sectors, and also we're expecting a recommendation to be provided for its implementation. More into the details, the call is aiming at having a study that will identify the practices and drivers that are required for the implementation of the Industry 5.0 principle in the rail sector. There will be as well, as expected outcome, the definition of success factors for this implementation of Industry 5.0. Additionally, the identification of internal and external factors with the potential to impact the implementation of Industry 5.0 in the rail industry is foreseen. As another key outcome, we are aiming to have the development of a framework for the measurement of progress toward the implementation of Industry 5.0 within the three main dimensions, meaning the safety, the reliability, and the efficiency. Finally, as the final outcome, we're aiming to have recommendations for the pilot projects that will showcase the implementation of Industry 5.0 principles and leading towards a human-centric rail system. Okay, so that's it for the studies on Rail 5.0. The next core topic is the studies on innovation in climate finance for rail. So this is on the next slide. I don't see it. Okay.
Sebastian, do you see the slide? Because
yeah, I see the slide, Nicola. Indeed, yeah.
Okay.
There was a bit of lag, but no, it's okay. I see it perfectly. Thank you. So this study will fully focus on the new concept of environmental economy and its implementation in the railway domain. On the next slide, the specific condition. So we have here as well a budget of 0.6 million euros of EU contribution that is expected. The indicative project duration is 30 months. The TRL level is 1 to 2. So it is, as per the previous call topic, a research and innovative action, and here as well, no linked action or expected interaction. In terms of expected outcome and scope, so we are expecting the development of new knowledge with the identification of key challenges, driver, and expected outcome and benefits for the implementation of the concepts of environmental economy in the rail. Recommendations for implementation are also expected. So the studies can include the following areas. So the first one is the identification of strategies to leverage green bonds and sustainability-linked financing instruments for railway projects. So, for example, the investigation of the use of carbon credits by railway companies. And the idea is indeed to generate revenues in order to contribute to meeting climate targets in Europe. Following this first, I would say, outcome, we are aiming the successful proposer to provide recommendation for standardized methodologies for measuring and verifying greenhouse gas emission reduction from rail investment, but also to facilitate access to the carbon market and result-based climate finance, including consideration of EU taxonomy. Then we're aiming to have the developments of reporting guidelines, enabling the alignment with corporate sustainability reporting directives regarding the climate finance instruments. And finally, the successful proposer should provide a first analysis of the current climate financing criteria and then provide recommendation for bridging the gaps and better accommodate rail projects in order to encourage investment and the use of low carbon transport modes. It will include, anytime it is relevant, policy recommendations. Finally, the third core topics I will detail today is on the extending the rail network of PhDs. So it's not a continuation as such of the two previous projects on the topic, but I would say an extension of this network of PhDs. In terms of EU contribution, we're aiming to have a budget of 1 million euros. There is no indication on project duration. The TRL level obviously will be quite low, TRL 1 to 2, and so it makes a research innovation action. Alors, the difference of the two previous call topic on Destination 8 here, it is foreseen to have indeed a complementary with the two previous projects dealing with PhD, namely Academics for Rail and PhD EU Rail, but also an interaction with the Destination 4 projects that will be also financed within this call on sustainable and green rail system. And I'm going to explain why we are aiming such a interaction in the next slide. So basically, the expected outcome and scope, it is as per the name of the call to further extend indeed this railway innovation community. Okay, so with new scientific research entities that we have been initiated already in 2022 with Academics for Rail and continued in 2023 with PhD EU Rail. We are aiming to have 3 to 5 PhD positions realized within this call, so position teaming up with the industry. However, we have proposing into the core text some areas of investigation. However, we are open to additional, also different scientific areas, and that the one proposed below. And the 2 areas we are proposing, and that's why we are foreseeing, I would say, collaboration with FA4. It is the 2 following topics. So the PhD topic on low height noise reduction barriers in rail transport, so fully linked with the work on noise and vibration for destination 4, so with the investigation of relevant noise reduction techniques, with design, construction, and the validation of the requirement for the low height noise barriers solution in the rail sector. And the second topic that is linked this time on the energy management of destination 4. This is the work associated to smart grids and micro smart grids in the rail domain. And we are aiming the PhD to address the following topics. So namely the energy market segment analysis for the concept of smart and micro smart grids for railway, to deliver an impact assessment of the new power supply sources and technologies on the current regulatory framework, as well as its capacity to adapt to energy innovation in railways, and finally, to produce a commercialization and standardization roadmap for self-sustained integrated rail power supply grid. So it is it for the 3 first core topic of Destination 8, and I hand over now to my colleague Leah that will present you the last topic on the support to the European FMCS deployment group. Thank you.
Thank you, Sebastian. Last but not least, 4th topic in this Destination 8 is the support to the European FRMCS deployment group. As you might know, Europe's Rail has active deployment group that is currently being tasked with to work with the future deployment of FRMCS, so the next generation of the telecommunication system for rail. And in this framework, and I will ask to go to the next slide, we are launching a topic to support this deployment group. So expected EU contribution has been set to 0.7 million euros, and with an indicative project duration of 24 months. As you can see, there are no TRL set because this is a coordination and support action, CSA. So be very careful to this if you apply. And I will explain why with the different activities that we want to see in this future action. This topic is linked to ongoing projects inside the Europe's Rail program, FP2R2 Dato and FP2 Moran 2. Moran 2 is the ongoing project for testing and validating of version 2 of the FRMCS specification in view of the future CCS-TSI update. So we expect a close link to this topic, or to this ongoing action, sorry, as well as with Destination 2, as I have presented at the beginning of this session for the link with the flagship area 2. Going on to the next slides, I will enter into more details about what is expected. The call text is very clear in this regards. First, we want to set up a PMO, a project management office, that is going to be the central operating arm to oversee the different activities, oversee the timeline, the dependency, the risks, and the progress of the future deployment activities of FRMCS. This is area number 1. We expect capacity mapping and planning analysis. So develop and distribute a sector-wide survey questionnaires to gather data on the deployment plans of the member states, the readiness of the products and the capacity to deliver. We want to see as delivery an independent cost and time driver study. Obviously, when it comes to deployment, a big fair share of the discussion has to come with the timing to deploy, but also the cost to deploy. So we want this topic to address this with a study on the cost structures and investment drivers related to FRMCS, with a particular focus on onboard assets, and to conduct relevant cost business analysis in order to support and inform this future deployment. Stakeholder management is obviously key. So we want to facilitate cooperation among the rail and telecom stakeholders, as well as with the different rail associations that are making up this landscape around FRNCS. Communication and dissemination, support targeted communication to the FRMCS deployment group, and to organize the outreach and the engagement with the broader sector to share awareness about the work that is being done, and to disseminate the results so that they can be used in the sector. Next slide. The deployment of a guideline toolbox. So the idea is to develop different practical guidelines that can be used for the deployment. Those guidelines are expected to be non-binding, but still to be used as a reference as much as possible to facilitate this transition to the new system. We want this CSA to provide expertise and technical support on different domains that are key in this area: system authorization, the cybersecurity aspect, obviously, that is increasingly important, and all the RAMS aspects. We want to see the development of a European deployment dashboard in order to be able to track developments, track progresses, and align with national activities, and being able to provide a view at European level. Knowledge sharing and acceleration, so to gather and share test results, because MORAN 2 is one of the is a key project at European level for testing and validating, but there are other validation activities ongoing at national level. So we want this project to be informed, aware, and being able to gather this information and this data. Risk and deviation management, obviously, not everything goes according to plan 100%, but this needs to be managed. So we want this CSA to handle this, identify the risk, report, and provide mitigation and deviations across the deployment chain. Last point, develop a market readiness, so to support the identification of measures needed to be addressed by the market to ensure swift FRMCS deployment. So this activity should be framed in the context of the anticipated short time frame to conduct migration from GSMR to FRMCS. The timing is tight and quite ambitious, and this needs to be also taken into account by the CSA. And on this note, this was the last topic of this call, the second call of 2025, and I hand over to Giorgio for the rest of the info day. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Lea. Thank you very much, Sébastien, Judith, and Javier for your presentations. I think you got by now a good overview of our call topic text. We already had a few questions in the chat. I think, well, we replied to all of them. I don't see any additional questions being asked, but don't hesitate to bring them up in the chat. If needed, we can also reply to them verbally right now. So if there are no questions, what I would suggest, since we gain some time, is still to go ahead, and then maybe we have a little bit longer lunch break. I don't know if, yes, there is one question. So let's go back 1 second. The question is from Marin Marinov. If for destination 8, how many projects will be funded? Say non-applicable. Yes, it's non-applicable because on purpose and also based on the advice that we got from our scientific steering group, which is to not confine those topics to one project proposal per topic, and therefore give the possibility to the scientific community to answer to those topics, except the coordination and support action, the other 3 topic in the destination 8, to give the possibility to really compete among the 3 ideas. And so we don't have a specific number of projects. It means that those 3 will be part of the same reserve list, and the best project proposal will be the one selected. So it could be, for example, that if we have 2 project proposal that are based on the PhD topic, then there will be 2 PhD topic proposal being selected, and so on also for the other. So it's something that we have decided to try with this call, also again following the suggestion from the scientific expert, and so it's non-applicable in this sense. The second question from Thomas is if we have an example of a successful proposal that we can share with you. You can actually directly see the successful proposal because all the projects that we're funding are shared in our website. So our suggestion is for you to look in the Europe's Rail website, click on the project tab on the top, and there you can find all the projects all the project proposals that were successful and became a project of Europe's Rail. And you can have there the project descriptions and that could help also you to understand maybe why they were successful. We don't share, obviously, for confidentiality reasons, the proposal themselves. This is not publishable. The next question is if in the FA301 topic is a close call intended only one dedicated consortium as a continuation of IM Rail for Rail is not open for other consortiums. So the answer is no. It's an open call for proposal. It's open to any project proposal that will build up on the results of the previous project that is still ongoing, FP3 IM for Rail. And therefore, you will see that in the call topic text, all reference to the needed background that the project needs to have access from the project IM for Rail are publicly available. So it means that any consortium could be built up and compete and apply. Although also here we are funding only one project proposal. Because of the size as well and also of the ITRL, it will not be possible for us to finance more than one proposal because we simply don't have the budget available for that. I see no other questions. So I hope that we have been extensive enough in our presentation and answer, but again, don't hesitate to ask us in the Q&A. And then now I will give the floor to Magdalena Glokowska, which she's the representative from the National Center for Research and Development. And also she's a member of our state representative group. But today she will present in the name of the project GreenNet, and I give her the floor.
Thank you very much, Giorgio, for this very kind introduction. Good afternoon, everyone. It's almost noon. I am Magdalena Glogowska, and I'm pleased to present the work of GreenNet, the network of Horizon Europe Cluster 5 national contact points. Our mission is to empower applicants through tailored tools and services, helping them navigate the Horizon Europe program more effectively. So, national contact points, or NCPs in short, are essential pillars of support for Horizon Europe participants. They provide personalized guidance, practical information, and assistance in local languages. These national structures are established across EU member states, associated countries, and even third countries. So you can also reach NCPs, for example, in Australia, New Zealand, or in countries of the global south. More importantly, NCPs operate under the minimum standards and guiding principles set by the European Commission, ensuring consistency and quality across the board, which also includes confidentiality. So, for example, you can consult your project applications with us and be sure that it stays confidential simply among you and your NCP. GreenNet is the dedicated network for Cluster 5, climate, energy, and mobility. It's funded by the European Commission. It runs from July 2022 to December 27, and with 19 core beneficiaries and an extended community of Cluster 5 NCPs, GreenNet is a collaborative effort to strengthen support across Europe and beyond. So our consortium includes a diverse group of organizations such as APRE, NCBR, Hub Brussels, and many, many more. Over half of the partners are new entries to our network of national contact points. So this brings new and fresh perspectives and new energy. And together we form a robust and inclusive community of Cluster 5 NCPs, all of them gathered simply to help you in your application process to Horizon Europe. So the aim of the GreenNet is clear: to professionalize the Cluster 5 NCPs. We do this by enhancing their competencies, by raising awareness of funding opportunities, and by providing tools that help applicants tackle challenges. We also focus on lowering entry barriers for newcomers and widening countries. And also we improve the quality of international consortiums through matchmaking support. And actually matchmaking activities are very important in our role. Just like recently we had this great opportunity of having a matchmaking event in Poland, back to back with Strako in Gdańsk. So to support applicants, GreenNet offers a suite of virtual tools like a newsletter to stay updated, a toolbox with practical resources. We also have a partner search tool to find collaborations. What's more, we also have a European Cluster 5 document repository where you can find all key documents related to climate, energy, and mobility. So you don't need to look any further, just reach over there. Also, we have a fantastic tool called Stakeholder Directory, which helps you to connect with the relevant actors for climate, energy, and for all transport modes. Let's take a quick look at our online portal. You can access all these tools and the resources at Horizon Europe NCP portal /cluster5, and it is designed especially to be very intuitive and super user-friendly for all applicants. I would like to elaborate a little bit more on the GreenNet Partner Search tool. You can find almost 500 profiles of the parties interested in collaborating in the fields of climate, energy, and mobility. And you can run your searches by keywords, by topics, and by countries, and also by the role you would like to play, whether you would like to be a coordinator or simply a project partners. So I would like to strongly encourage you to use this tool and to register today. If you have any problems with this, you're most welcome to contact us or both in the form of the network or me or your national contact point. So thank you for your attention. GreenNet is here to support you at every step of the way in Horizon Europe journey. Do not hesitate to reach out to us for the personalized assistance. You can follow us on social media at NCP GreenNet and visit our website for more information. And we look very much forward to cooperate with you and to support you. I can also see in the participants list of today's meeting that there are so many Cluster 5 NCPs here today. So hi to you all, and thank you very much also for this opportunity to present the GreenNet network. Thank you.
Thank you, Magdalena, and thank you also on my side to all the national contact point of the Cluster 5. And you can see, colleagues, that this is really an opportunity that we provide to you. It's basically a free services for those that wants to apply for the Research and Innovation Project in Europe's Rail, because you will have then the possibility to indeed understand better, especially if it is your first time, how it works, but not only, enlarging as well the community and having further reply to your questions. So we're trying to do our best to put at your disposal all different solutions to facilitate the application of this process, which remain at the moment still an administrative process, so that later on you can really work on research and innovation activities. We have reached already the end of our morning presentation with, well, basically half an hour of in advance compared to the original schedule. But because we would like to give you, in any case, the chance to have a lunch break not too much anticipated, what I suggest is that we will restart still our session at 1 p.m. And what we will do from 1 p.m. until 1:30 is that we will look into the legal and financial aspect of your project proposal. So we will guide you through some tips and also through the rules on how to best design and submit your project proposal from a legal perspective and from a financial perspective. You will have also there the possibility to provide us a question and answer during that session. And afterwards, we will have the possibility to, well, you will have the possibility to enter into dedicated matchmaking session and also exchange among yourself with those that would like to submit a project proposal. And thank you indeed for the colleagues that answered to the Q&A. Now it's 11:30 and we will resume at 1 p.m. 1300. Thanks a lot to everyone.
My role here is to give you an overview of the general Horizon Europe rules that apply also, of course, to the EU Rail Call for Proposals. And if there is any particular issue, of course, I will point it for you. So first of all, you already know where you can find the EU Rail Call for Proposals on the Funding and Tenders portal, which is the primary online gateway for all EU funding programs and tenders. And of course, it is also published on our website under the calls tab. Before you submit your proposal, you need to ensure that you have that you are registered in the participant register, that you have your PIN, participants identification code, that you have obtained it, and that you need to ensure that your proposal yourself, you need to do some checks to ensure that your proposal is not in an exclusion situation, is admissible and eligible. And we will go into details for each of them right now. And for the rest, you just need to follow the rules described in the call for proposals. Next slide, please. Exclusion, what does it mean? So the EDES, which stands for Early Detection and Exclusion System, is the database established by the Commission to reinforce the protection of the Union's financial interests and to ensure sound financial management. It includes a list of persons and entities excluded from contracts financed by the EU budget, among others on the grounds of significant deficiencies in complying with their main contractual obligations, fraud, corruption, or other misconducts. In other words, if your entity is there, of course, you cannot access to EU funding. Applicants can also be refused EU funding if they are misrepresenting information required for the participation or fail to supply information. And of course, if they are in a situation of conflict of interest. Next slide, please. In terms of admissibility, what does it mean? Of course, applications must be submitted before the deadline provided in the call text and electronically via, again, the funding and tenders portal. The applications must be complete and contain a dissemination and exploitation plan. A dissemination and exploitation plan includes all the communication activities that are planned in your proposal. And also applications must correspond to the page limit, also indicated. In the case of innovation actions, the limit is 120 pages. For research and innovation actions and coordination and support actions, the limit is 70 pages, also as indicated in the call text. Next slide, please. Eligibility. There are two kinds of eligibilities. You have the eligibility to participate and the eligibility to receive funding. You can have the two of them or just one, which would be in that case, eligibility to participate only. Let's start with the complete eligibility. In other words, to be able to receive funding. To be eligible to receive funding, you have to be established in one of the EU member states or in one of the associated countries to Horizon Europe. There are also other countries like low middle income countries, etc., which can also be eligible. And we have some specific cases, for instance, for EU bodies, which are bodies created under EU law, which can also be eligible, and international European research organizations, also eligible to receive funding. Other international organizations can be eligible if foreseen in the call conditions. Next slide, please. Let's focus now on the associated countries to Horizon Europe, because this list changes from time to time. At the moment, there are 20 associated countries to Horizon Europe. The most recent country to join the list has been the Republic of Korea. And there are also what is called transitional arrangements, which basically allow entities established in countries which are not yet associated to Horizon Europe to be also eligible for Horizon Europe funding. At the moment, there are 3 transitional arrangements concerning Egypt, Morocco, and Switzerland. What does it mean, these transitional arrangements? It means that entities established in those countries are eligible to apply. Well, in the case of, let's take the example of Switzerland. So entities from Switzerland are eligible from the 1st of January 2025 to participate in Horizon Europe call for proposals. But, and this applies to all the 3 countries, only at the moment that the association agreement will be finalized, in other words, signed and entered into force, only then those successful applicants from Switzerland or any other of these countries which would be in the same situation could start getting EU funding. At the moment of the, so what is important to see is whether the association agreement applies at the moment of the signature of the grant agreement. This is the key moment. And there are other countries which are also in the process of negotiation, like is the case for Japan. But for the rest, the countries which are not in this list, they are not eligible for Horizon Europe funding. And then the other kind of eligibility is the eligibility to participate, only to participate. And this is for the non-associated to Horizon Europe countries, also called third countries. Any legal entity, so regardless of its place of establishment, so from any country, including legal entities or international organizations from non-associated third countries, are eligible to participate. And this is independent on whether they can receive funding or not. And the non-associated third countries must apply, can only apply as associated partners. Of course, there is an important exception that there are some countries which are subject at the moment to EU restrictive measures. In other words, they are not eligible to participate, not even as associated partners in Horizon Europe proposals. An example would be countries subject to restrictive measures, entities at the moment from Russia, Belarus, and non-government controlled territories of Ukraine. They cannot participate in EU funding in any capacity at the moment. Please note that an entity from an EU member state, an associated country, can also be associated partner without receiving funding. But an entity from a non-associated third country can only be associated partner. In other words, cannot receive EU funding. Next slide, please. There are other kind of eligibility criteria. For instance, the obligation to have a gender equality plan for certain entities, certain applicants, which are public bodies, higher education establishments, and research organizations from either member states or associated countries. Those applicants are obliged to have a gender equality plan in place, at least at the moment of the signature of the grant. More eligibility criteria regarding the form of a consortium. The form of a consortium is required to be, in order to be eligible, which means that at least 3 independent legal entities are required. This is the minimum. And apart from that, there is also another requirement, which is that at least one has to be established in a new member state, and at least the 2 other minimum independent legal entities required must be established either in a different member state, has to be a different member state from the other one, and or in an associated country. So there is a minimum 3 legal entities required, which have to be independent from each other and each established in a different eligible country. Affiliated entities do not sign the grant agreement, and therefore they do not count towards the minimum eligibility criteria for consortium composition. Giorgio, maybe we should, if you could go back to the previous slide, because there is a specific rule for consortium forming for coordination and support actions, which is important. In order to be eligible for funding, applications, in the case of coordination support actions only, applications may be submitted by one or more legal entities. So here we don't apply the general rule of 3 entities mentioned before. These one or more legal entities for CSAs may be established also in a new member state or associated country, and only in exceptional situations, and if provided in the call topic conditions, they could be in a third country. So this is an important difference that you need to be aware. Next slide, please. What roles can you have in a consortium? There are different roles. The beneficiaries are the ones who receive funding and, of course, sign the grant agreement. The coordinator will have to be a beneficiary. You also have the affiliated entities, which are entities having a legal or a capital link with the beneficiary. They also can declare costs and receive funding. You also have the role of associated partner. They do not declare cost. They do not receive funding. You also have the role of subcontractor, which does provides work and also invoices cost to the beneficiary that has subcontracted them. But it is the beneficiary, the one who declares the costs to the authorizing authority. And then you have the third party providing contributions. They do not work. They just give in-kind contributions, and the beneficiary may declare the cost of those contributions. It is very important that there is a clear division of roles within every project. Next slide, please. The structure of the proposal. So basically, there is a part A, which contains all the administrative information about the applicant organizations. Who will be the coordinator, who will be the beneficiaries, and the affiliated entities. And then, of course, the summarized budget for the proposal and all the call-specific questions. And then there is a part B, which contains the technical description of the project. Next slide, please. You also have to know that as part of the evaluation of the proposals, there is an important review called ethics review. This is because all EU-funded activities must comply with the fundamental ethical principles and legislation, including adherence to the highest standards of research integrity, as described in both the European Code of Conduct for Research Integrity and other international legislation. Applicants must have completed the ethics self-assessment as part of their application. And the projects involving ethics issues will have to undergo an ethics review to authorize funding and may be subject to specific ethics requirements. Next slide, please. There is also security scrutiny, which is systematically done for all Horizon Europe proposals. And security is also based on a previous self-assessment included in the proposal. And depending on what you declare in that self-assessment, there could be more in-depth security checks. Next slide, please. The evaluation of the proposals. So we are applying the general rules for Horizon Europe. So there are 3 award criteria: excellent, on excellence, impact, and quality and efficiency of implementation. And there are also some specific EU-Rail sub-criteria, which you can find in Annex 8 of EU-Rail Work Program for 2025 and 26. Maybe we can go to next slide, because here we have to distinguish between research and innovation actions and innovation actions. And here on the slide, you have what is required or what are the award criteria for those 2 actions. With the 3 different sub-criteria per each criterion that you have to take into account to assess the quality of each proposal, because this is what independent experts composing the evaluation, the panels that will evaluate your proposal will have to assess. On each box, you can find in orange color the sub-criteria. Specific or particular to this EU rail call for proposals. And on the next slide, you have the same, but for coordination and support actions. As you can see, there is a slight difference between the criteria required for RIAs, EAs, and CSAs. But you have all these detailed in Annex 8 of the Work Program 25-26. And then, as part of the evaluation, how does it work?
You're muted, Anna. Muted. Okay, maybe.
Is it okay?
Yes, go ahead.
Ya está.
It's
Sorry
okay.
about that. I don't know how it went up. Okay, so we continue with the evaluation of the proposals. How proposals are scored and what are the weighting rules? So the panel of independent experts who will evaluate your proposal will have to provide with scores, will score for each criteria, will score your proposal for each of the criteria that we just mentioned. For the full applications, each criterion will be scored out of 5. The threshold for individual criteria will be 3. The overall threshold applying to the sum of the 3 individual scores will be 10. To determine the ranking of innovation actions, the score for impact will be given a weight of 1.5. Rating is only used for the ranking, so not to determine if the proposal passed the thresholds. And proposals that pass the individual threshold and the overall threshold will be considered for funding, of course, within the limits of the available call budget. All this, you can find it detailed in the call text. So I'm almost there, I hope. So just for you to have an indication of the time to grant, since the call deadline, there will be more or less, well, yes, let's say an indicative time of around 5 months from the deadline for submission to receive the outcome of the evaluation, and then around 8 months in total after if you're successful, of course, you should be invited to the grant signature. So altogether 8 months maximum. And I think that's all. Just to finalize, just to say that, of course, everything's done electronically through the funding and tenders portal. That for the grant agreement, we are following the Horizon Europe model grant agreement, lump sum. But this will be my colleague, Sandro, who will explain that more in detail, and that there is an important and specific Annex 5 where you can find very important rights and obligations related to some of the issues we mentioned: security, ethics, values, intellectual property rights, communication, dissemination, open science, and visibility, and of course, specific rules for carrying out the action. That's all for me, and apologies for the technical issues. Thank you.
Thank you, Anna. Again, I encourage everybody to ask a question, and I give immediately the floor to Sandro, our financial officer, for the next presentation.
Thank you, Giorgio. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Sandro Benidio. I'll now explain some of the key financial guidelines involved in EU-rail calls. I'll try to be my best to be concise due to the time constraints. So we'll go through the three key points of the relationship between EU-rail and Horizon program. First, we'll look at the lump sum grants. Then we'll discuss the budget table used in the calculation of the lump sum. And finally, go through the members' contribution table. Next slide, please. So Eurail call works with lump sum projects. So we opted for the lump sum approach in order to simplify the grant signature and reporting processes. Lump sum removes all obligations on actual cost reporting and financial ex post audits. Access to the program becomes easier, simpler, and more focused on results instead of financial management. It is a result-driven approach where the project is divided in work packages and which will only be paid once they are fully completed. Next slide. So to write a proposal, you should use the standard Horizon Europe application form. You should present the objectives and methodology of a project as in any Horizon Europe proposal. You should describe in detail the activities covered by each work package. All proposals must contain a detailed budget table. The applicants will provide this budget table through a dedicated Excel. This table should contain all the information concerning the project financials, and the table automatically generates the breakdown of the lump sum per beneficiary and per work package. You must download it from the online submission system, fill it in, and submit it as annex to the Part B of the application form. Next slide. So this detailed budget table must comply with the basic eligibility conditions. When filling it in, participants must ensure the best value for money and be free from any conflict of interest, especially when it concerns to purchases and subcontracting. If the budget table contains ineligible costs, the grant may be reduced. Concerning the amount of work package you can have as many as needed, but no more than what is manageable. Work packages with long duration may be split along the reporting periods. In this way, the relevant activities can be paid at the end of the concerned reporting period. Next slide. You can pass this one too. So the types of participation, you need to explain which participant does what when carrying out the project, meaning that the partner organizations and their activities shall be specified in the grant agreement. They can be beneficiaries, affiliated entities, associate partners, or subcontractors. The costs actually incurred are not relevant, but who does the work still is. Next slide. The budget table allows for the breakdown of cost per cost categories and allows you to submit different types of costs, such as personal costs, subcontracting, purchase costs, other cost categories, and indirect costs. Next slide. Regarding the personal costs, the main difference with H2020 program is the discontinuation of the different formulas for the calculation of the daily rate. In Horizon, it is only requested the use of a single corporate daily rate and a calendar year approach. Next slide. The daily, as stated before, the daily rate calculation is done per calendar year from January to December. For calculating a daily rate for any possible situation, can be full-time or part-time, you'll have to use a predefined formula. The formula is actual personal cost during the months within the reporting period, divided by a maximum declarable day equivalence. Next slide. With regards to subcontracting, the principles of ensuring best value for money, no conflict of interest, and subcontracting of only a limited part of the action are still compulsory. In case of breach, the JU may reduce the grant. The estimated costs for each subcontract have to be included in Annex 1 and Annex 2. And also the cost of subcontracting must be indicated in the financial Excel table. Next slide. Concerning the purchase costs, they are divided into travel and subsistence, equipment and other goods, works and service. They must fulfill the general eligibility conditions and be bought using the beneficiary's usual purchasing practices, such as best value for money and no conflict of interest. Again, next slide. Concerning the evaluation of a lump sum grant, it's similar to the standard grants. All the proposals are evaluated according to Horizon procedures with the help of the independent experts. The key elements being evaluated are excellence, impact, and quality and efficiency of the implementation. The independent experts will assess whether the resources proposed and the split of the lump sum share allows the achieving of the activities. They will assess that the budget estimate is accurate and appropriate in view of the resources for each work package, of course, and they will assess the budget estimate on the basis of the relevant statistical data. They will also verify that it includes a declaration of access to the budget estimate on basis of the relevant statistical data. Next slide. So we follow the standard process to prepare the grant agreement. The grant agreement for your projects will be based on the model grant agreement for lump sum grants. The grant agreement is prepared on basis of the proposal you submitted, and the breakdown of the lump sum shares per beneficiary and per work package is included in the grant agreement as Annex 2. Next slide. The Annex 2 shall reflect the lump sum breakdown shown in the budget table. In it, you can see which work packages each of the beneficiary work and how much budget is allocated per beneficiary. You can use the budget as you see fit as long as the project is implemented as agreed. During the action, budget transfers between work package and partner or partners, of course, require an amendment if the consortium wants to reflect them in the grant agreement. Next slide. There are three types of payments: the pre-financing, the interim payments, and the payment of the balance. The pre-financing is paid within the first 60 days of the signature, after the signature of the grant. The interim payments are paid upon the submission of the reporting grants, and the payment of the balance is done upon the project's closure and after the review and approval of all project deliverables. Next slide. During the reporting and payment phase, you should use the standard reporting template. In it, the coordinator declares the work packages as completed or not completed, and this should be justified in the technical report. At the final of the reporting period, it's possible to declare partially completed work packages and to enter the percentage of completion, in which will result the payment of a percentage of the full amount, of course. Next slide. The work packages are accepted if the activities have been carried out. Lump sum projects can be amended according to the scientific and technical needs. The use of these you should use these mechanisms to make completion of the work packages more feasible. If the rejection of the completed work package is upheld, the lump sum share concerned is not paid at that point in time. You should complete the work package later and declare it at the end of any subsequent reporting period. If it's not possible to complete the work package by the end of the project, the lump sum will be paid partially in line with the degree of completion. The decision on the partial amount is taken on a case-by-case basis and after review by the project officer and the financial officer. Next slide. As previously stated, the lump sum grants can be amended using the same procedure and conditions for all Horizon grants. It's important to note that lump sum work package that have already been paid cannot be amended. Next slide. In what respects to ex post controls, with the lump sum approach, there are no financial audits anymore, but there's the possibility of ex post technical reviews that will check the proper implementation of the action and check compliance with other obligations of the grant, such as the IPR obligations related to the third parties, and EU visibility, and so on. Next slide. So with the new lump sum approach regarding keeping records, what do we request? So we need you to keep technical documents, publications, prototypes, deliverables, and any document proving that the work was done as detailed in Annex 1. We don't request any more timesheets, pay slips, contracts, travel invoices, or actual costs. However, these documents should be kept in case of an eventual technical export audit as foreseen in Article 20 of the lump sum grant agreement, model grant agreement. Next slide. So now I will do a brief overview about the budget table that you need to include in your proposal. This Excel file can be downloaded directly in the call page, and once filled in, it should contain all the relevant financial information from the proposal. Next slide. In the first tab are all the instructions on how to fill in the table. Each proposal must submit one detailed budget table as an Excel file. Each tab of the file presents a different set of information. I would advise you to read the instruction tab attentively before initiating any of the encoding. Next slide. So after reading the instructions, you should start by encoding the information in the beneficiary list, in the tab beneficiary list. Here you should add all the beneficiaries and affiliated entities and choose their respective funding rate. You should also mention which country the beneficiaries are located. Once completed, you should click on the button Apply Changes, and the table will now include a tab for each beneficiary together with their respective affiliated entities. Next slide. After filling the Beneficiaries tab, you should go to fill in the work package list. In this tab, you should add all the work packages defined for the project and their description. Once completed, you click the button Apply Changes, and the table will now be ready to complete with the financial information from all the beneficiaries and their affiliated entities. Just if you can, Nicola, just go back to the previous slide because it's important to show. Yes, this is the work packages list where you should list all the work packages of the project. So after completing the beneficiary list, you should complete the work package list, and then you should have a table that is ready to be filled in. Next slide. So after this, each beneficiary should complete one individual sheet. This individual sheet includes one separate section for each work package and for each affiliated entity. For each work package in which the beneficiary participates, you should enter the cost estimations under each cost category used. So only the yellow cells can be filled. Everything else is locked for editing. You should enter only the number of items and the cost per item in each cost category. The total costs per cost category are then calculated automatically, and at the end of the sheet, you can find a summary with the information concerning all work packages and the total costs foreseen for each beneficiary or affiliated entity. Next slide. So if a beneficiary has an affiliated entity, columns for this entity are generated automatically in the beneficiary sheet. You should enter the cost estimation of the affiliated entity in the same way as for the main beneficiary. Next slide. On the direct personal cost, you should enter the total number of items and the average cost per item for each category of personal costs. One item equals one person month. SME owners and natural persons beneficiaries, the cost per item is predefined based on the country. So if you change country, the cost shown there will change. Personal costs will be evaluated by the experts using the dashboard for lump sum evaluations and using an internal table that we supply. And if your personal costs are higher than the values in the threshold, you must justify them in the Any Comments tab. Next slide. There is one line for subcontracting per beneficiary and per work package. Here you should enter the number of subcontracted tasks for a given beneficiary and a given work package as number of items. The tasks to be subcontracted and their costs must also be described and justified in table 3.1g in part B of the application form. The costs entered here must match the costs entered in the Excel file. Next slide. Same thing for the direct purchase cost. You should enter the total number of items and the average cost per item for each category. The cost per item should be an average of the prices of all items in the given category for a given beneficiary and the given work package. If the purchase costs exceed 15% of the given beneficiary, this beneficiary must also complete the table 3.1 of part B on the proposal table in order to justify why they're above the 15%. Next slide. There's a depreciation tab. In this tab, you will have a tool where you can calculate the depreciation cost of any equipment to be used in the action. This will help you define the amounts to be added in the individual beneficiary sheets concerning depreciation. This amount is not automatically transferred to the respective beneficiary tab. You have to add them manually, the depreciation cost on the dedicated section of the beneficiary tab. Next slide. Certain types of costs can only be entered if they're explicitly allowed for the specific conditions of your topic. The indirect costs are calculated automatically, and total costs are also calculated automatically. So after completing the information, next slide, please. So after completing the information in the individual beneficiaries tab, the table summary per work package will give you an estimation of costs of all beneficiaries for each work package. The summary tables will be used by the evaluators during the evaluation of your proposal. Next slide. There's another table, another summary table. This is the beneficiary work package person months, which will give you the number of person months each beneficiary plans to allocate to each work package. In this tab, after completing the individual beneficiary sheets, you'll find a summary of the effort allocated for all beneficiaries, including the affiliated entities for all work packages. Next slide. And here's probably one of the most important of the summary tabs. This is the breakdown of the lump sum per work package and per beneficiary, and is generated automatically on the basis of the individual cost estimations of each beneficiary. It will display the lump sum shares per beneficiary and affiliated entity and per work package. It will apply the funding rate that you chose on the beneficiary list. And in part A of the application online forms, you'll have to fill in the budget for proposal table, entering the requested grant amount for each participant. And to do so, you should use the total amounts per beneficiary shown in the table estimated breakdown of the lump sum of the Excel file. Next slide. So once you completed the detailed budget table, you should upload it on the online submission system as annex to the Part B template. The format of the Excel template uses macros. While you work on it, it should always be saved as macro enabled. To upload the Excel file, you should save it as a normal Excel format, because due to security reasons, we cannot allow the upload of the file with macros. You should always keep a copy of the original macro-enabled file with you in case we request it. Next slide. So now we're going to talk about the private members' contribution. So Annex 1 Part B, the private estimated members' contribution. So this part is only for EUREL members who should fill in a dedicated table to account for their contributions in ICOP and IK. This contribution should have a leverage effect of 1.263, meaning that for each euro of funding, the member should contribute with 1.263 euros of in-kind contributions. Any discrepancy to this ratio shall be well and duly justified. Next slide. So this is a preview of the members table. As previously stated, the total eligible costs correspond to the formula 1 euro of co-funding plus 1.263 euros of in-kind contributions. This 2.263 ratio is the baseline to all EUREL grants open to the members. The table is quite simple and should consolidate all the information for all the members participating in the project. In the first column, the members should be listed. The second should contain the information concerning the requested EU contribution. The third column must have the amounts of the total contributions on top of the funding. The fourth column is automatic and calculates the ratio of the contributions, and the final one, of course, serves to add any comments or justifications if there are a deviation. Next slide. During the gap phase, the tab G contributions should be filled in with the ICOP and IK for the members participating in the project. Filling in this information is mandatory, and the figures encoded should be in line with the figures declared in the estimated members' contributions table. Next slide. This is just for information. There's one lump sum dedicated page in the funding and tenders portal. In it, you will find a trove of elements pertaining to the lump sum processes. You can find very instructive video tutorials, guidance documents, and a list of events dedicated to lump sum. If you're interested in the subject, we strongly advise you to consult it. And many thanks. This was my last slide. I hope I was within the time, and I will now give the floor back to Giorgio.
Thank you very much, Sandro. Crystal clear. I think everybody can now understand of the benefit that we're doing in Europe's Rail by adopting for all our call lump sum. The reason being that we want to focus more on the output of the project, on the content, than on the recognition of the cost. But for this, in the proposal phase, you will have indeed a little bit more work to do in both the correct estimation of the cost, but then also, as you have seen, in detailing a little bit these Excel file templates that you will have available already right now on the participant and the funding and tender portal. So in terms of question, I don't see many questions. So it means that, well, I hope that we have been quite clear. Don't hesitate to ask them. I see one. So since we are in the QA phase, I can quickly address it directly. So for monthly rate, we have different grades within each staff category. As a result, an average rate for each staff category will not work to accurately calculate the exact operating cost. Could you make it possible for us to add more monthly rate within each staff category in the Excel spreadsheet? Sandro, you would like to reply directly? Hey, my colleague doesn't seem to be there.
No,
Yes.
I'm here. I'm here. I just need to reread the question because.
So the question is if it's possible to add more monthly rate within each category in the Excel spreadsheet. I think for each category it's only one monthly rate, but tell me, I'm not
Yes,
sure.
it should be an average. So the categories are different. You have senior scientists, junior scientists, technical personnel. Each one should have an average of the amount of the different categories.
Exactly. Thank you very much, Sandro. Then we have another question. Are there any beneficiary rules for beneficiary who aren't members of EURail? I can quickly reply to these. There is no specific rules. As mentioned at the very beginning also of the presentation, we follow 100% the rules for participation of Horizon Europe. So there is no specific rule. The only change is indeed that the members needs to contribute with more. Can we have this presentation? Yes, it will be published on our website. Can you have a subcontractor outside of EU or associated country? Associated country for sure. Outside of the EU, I don't know if on the spot, Anna, you have the answer. Otherwise, we will come back to you in writing because I don't remember by heart. Or maybe Sandro, you already know the answer, but otherwise we will go back in the Q&A that we will publish soon afterwards.
Yes, it is possible, but of course there are some countries which may have some restrictions, but in principle it is possible for subcontracting.
Outside the European Union. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, we will in any case publish the information on our website. Are there guidelines for the in-kind of subcontracting activities? No, for the kind of subcontracting activities. So these you can see also the explanation on the annotated model grant agreement. It's quite well explained, so we will provide you the link in the question and answer that we will publish. Can we have this presentation? Yeah, I already said. Then can a company of a group be a direct partner in a consortium when another company of the group is member of EURail? Yes, so the fact that a member of EURail is present, it doesn't mean that any affiliated entity of this member cannot participate. They can participate. They can participate either as an affiliated entity of that member or even as a direct beneficiary. The only thing to have in mind is that their contribution to Europe's rail project will be calculated as a contribution from the Europe's rail member. And yes, okay. The rest, I think it's clear. So if you didn't hear what Anna said, is that in principle it should be possible, but we will double check and provide the answer. Okay, I don't see. Yes, last question, I guess, or a couple more questions. No. So is there any limit of the number of consultants that one company can get involved? No, there is no limit. If we're working in multiple projects with different areas of the program, yes. Are we allowed to apply under more than one call? Yes, there is no limit. Okay, so I would check again if somebody has still some question. There is still a possibility. I don't. I'm trying to speed up, but don't hesitate to ask questions, because otherwise I will start to do a little bit of a closing remark. And first of all, I would like to thank all the colleagues of Europe's Rail that worked in this Info Day presentation, and behind the scene there are many other colleagues that have been involved in the preparation of this call and Info Day. So thank you to them. And also, I hope that we provided a good coverage of what this call is about, but also what Europe's Rail is about. I wish you a successful application in this call. We're looking forward, as the European Commission, Kristian and Andrea said, for excellent proposal. I think all of us wants to see more rail and better rail, and this is the opportunity that we have to make it happen. Now, the Info Day, we would like to give a further opportunity and to have a matchmaking session. Remember that you can still register on also a free tool that we made available until the end of the call submission, which is the B2Match tool. You can find all the links also on our website. As I have mentioned, there were about 400 and something participants register at the beginning in this morning, and now there are even more, so I think it is good. You will have, I see a question as well, the video of this presentation. It will be also published on our website. And now I would like to thank you all